It's International Women's Day, and it's so important that we are part of that conversation with you in policing. So I'm Amanda Blakeman. I'm the Deputy Chief Constable here at Gwent Police. I'm also a wife and I'm also a mum. I'll just introduce.
I'm Chief Inspector Amanda Thomas, and I've worked in Gwent Police for coming up 27 years this year. I'm also a wife and a mum of 2 boys, which I'm very proud of. I currently look after the neighbourhood teams across the west of the force, the problem-solving teams, and I work in partnership across the west of the force.
I'm Sally Evans. I'm just a year in now in March. I'm currently just a PC here in Gwent with the hopes to go up in my role as I go on, with a lot of opportunities ahead of me. And I'm not a mother or a parent, the same thing, or a wife, but hopefully that'll be something I can do in the future.
Well, if I look back 30 years, so I'm 30 years ago since I joined in February, and I look back to my recruitment interview, where one of the questions to me was whether or not I was likely to have children in the future, because that was very much on the mind of the Chief Superintendent who was recruiting me at the time, as a visible commitment to policing. Now, obviously, I went on in my service. I've had a daughter who's 23 now. But I look back at that time that I had my daughter, there was no flexible working, there was no opportunity to be able to come back on a phased return, or really to make the most of that time with her when she was a tiny baby. I came back when she was 3 months old, back to full-time and back onto shifts, and really had to work that through with my husband, who was also a police officer. And for the first 3 years, we didn't really see anything much of each other, because we really had to balance that out. I'm proud, over the time period that has ensued, that we as female officers have been able to influence that change for my colleagues today, so that actually when you do start a family, you have that important, precious time together to bond and build as a family, and you get the opportunity to be able to put flexible work arrangements in place. And that's one of the big achievements in terms of policing that I think I've seen, alongside a whole host of other things that I think have changed for the better. Still got work to do, but we have come a long way since I look back to 97, when there was no flexible working arrangements available.
Yeah, it was just a major shock to hear that an interview question was about, are you planning on having any children? You know, that hasn't even been asked me by anyone, really, and I don't even think that would be, not that it was ever a problem, but I don't think even people think of that as an issue anymore. You know, I come into this job probably like everyone else, wanting to, you know, do something different, not in the office, just get out there, get in the community and make a difference. And I feel as a female out there that I have exactly the same opportunities as anybody else. And I feel very lucky that the officers by the side of me have been able to be part of that and help change it, to be able to have the opportunities I have.
We are doing a huge amount of work in policing at the moment around the violence against women and girls in our society. And you look at that, and there's a huge change that needs to take place in society around attitudes, around culture, around how people think and feel in terms of their approach to women and girls. And that's the big piece of work that we really need to make progress in, I think, in policing now, in order for that to be better for our future generations to come. That's the big challenge for policing. That's the thing that we're working through. I do feel that we are making progress, but I don't think it's fast enough, and I think there's more to do in this area.
I work a lot with youth engagement team and schools police officers, and breaking down the barriers with our youth and having those open conversations. And then secondly, it's women have different needs to males. You know, we have personal issues to deal with, such as periods, and nobody used to like the word. Going back 20 years ago, nobody wanted to talk about it. But it's here, it's always going to be there. Menopause is there. I'm coming up to that age now, unfortunately. But those conversations weren't discussed back then, but they are being discussed now. With our Gender Equality Network forum that's running really well, you know, attended by male, female, people from all different backgrounds, those conversations are taking place, and then it's important then to have those conversations and resonating through your teams and having that open door policy.
Yeah, no, I think it's very important. People got to have confidence in us as an organisation to, you know, have the trust to come out and say things that they, you know, they don't want to talk to their family members about. And I think, you know, working as with the neighbourhood, like Mum said, you know, is really important, especially working with the youth at the moment, with social media and things like that as well. There's loads of ways that people can reach out to us. My advice to someone coming into it is just have the confidence to trust yourself and believe in your own abilities. You know, it's quite an intimidating role to come into, dealing with people, but it's also really rewarding as well. Like, I love my job and I wouldn't change it for the world, and all the internal opportunities within this role as well is just insane. But yeah, I think coming back into it, I would just tell myself to have more confidence, more belief, and, you know, as a woman as well, there's so much need for you within this role, and you have so much sort of a good presence, you know, for you in the communities as well, and you're very well respected, and it's really, really good, yeah.
In 30 years, I've seen things and done things that I would never, ever have dreamt that I would have had the opportunity to be able to see and do. Policing is a people business. It's about connecting with people. It's about being able to care for people, to be able to demonstrate that compassion, and to be able to have the courage to deal with things when they're tricky and, you know, that things need some real calmness and some real control around them. If you think you've got those skills, then come and have a conversation with us, because that's what we really need here. We need an opportunity to be able to influence that agenda moving forward in relation to violence against women and girls. And we will do that by changing attitudes and approaches. So you as individuals coming into the service as strong females, you will have a lot of support, you'll have a lot of guidance. And if it is a career that you're thinking of, come and have a conversation with us. I suppose my message on International Women's Day is very much one that's based around values. I joined the service 30 years ago with a very clear view on what my values were, around making sure that I was able to deliver fairness and justice and all the things that really sit at the heart of me. Throughout my 30 years, that's never gone away. And when I speak to people who are nearing the end of their career now, the values they started out with are the ones that they finished with. So I would say, you know, my message on International Women's Day is those values, you know, my values as a woman in policing have held me in good stead for my 30 years. And, you know, again, anybody that's thinking about a career in policing, if your values are there in terms of, you know, sort of being compassionate around justice in our communities, then this may well be the career for you, and one that you upstep that first important step and come and talk to us about.